When I was 12, my family moved into a large old house on Elm Street. It was one of those Victorian-style homes, complete with creaky wooden floors, grand staircases, and high ceilings. The house had been empty for several years, but my parents saw potential in it and were excited to make it our new home. The first few weeks were uneventful, but soon after settling in, strange things started happening. It began with small things, objects moving from where we left them, lights flickering, and an eerie chill that would settle in certain rooms. My parents dismissed it as the house just settling, but I knew something wasn't right. One night I woke up to the sound of faint whispers. At first I thought it was my parents talking downstairs, but when I got up to check, the house was silent. I convinced myself it was just my imagination and went back to bed. The next night, I heard the whispers again, only this time, they were louder, almost as if they were coming from right outside my bedroom door. Terrified, I pulled the covers over my head and waited for the noises to stop. But instead of stopping, the whispers turned into distinct voices, hushed and hurried, as if someone was having a conversation right outside my room. I couldn't make out what they were saying, but the tone was urgent and angry. Over the following days, the activity in the house intensified. Footsteps echoed through the halls at night. Doors would slam shut on their own, and the whispers became a nightly occurrence. My little brother, who shared a room with me, started waking up with scratches on his arms, and our dog, usually friendly, refused to go near certain parts of the house. One evening, while my parents were out, I was sitting in the living room watching TV when the temperature dropped suddenly. I could see my breath in the air, even though it was a warm summer night. The TV screen flickered and then went completely black. At that moment, I heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps, slow, deliberate steps, coming down the hallway toward the living room. I was paralyzed with fear, unable to move. The footsteps stopped just outside the room, and for what felt like an eternity, there was nothing but deafening silence. Suddenly, the door to the living room slammed shut with such force that the windows rattled. I screamed, grabbed my phone, and bolted out of the house. When my parents returned, they found me sitting on the porch, shaking. I told them everything, but they insisted there was a logical explanation. Old houses creak, drafts cause doors to slam, and the whispers were probably just the wind. But I knew what I had experienced, and no explanation could convince me otherwise. A few weeks later, we discovered the house's dark history. It turned out that years ago, a family had lived there, a mother, father, and their young daughter. One night, the father, in a fit of rage, had killed his wife and daughter before taking his own life. Neighbors reported hearing screams and strange noises coming from the house for months after the tragedy, but no one dared to investigate. After learning this, my parents decided it was time to leave. We moved out within the month, and I've never been back to that house since. Even now, years later, I still get chills when I drive past Elm Street, and I'll never forget the night the spirits of that house made their presence known.